Hello, this is Ivana.
This is Yao.
And you're listening to the podcast Life in Black and White.
And all the shades in between.
We share all things life, relationships, marriage, parenting, race, and much more. If you enjoy listening to us, then please follow or subscribe to this podcast. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook under Life in Black and White. Hello and welcome to the next episode of our podcast. It's Ivana here again and Yao.
Hi.
And today we would like to talk to you about manners, why they're important and how we see them and what they mean to us. Especially for Yao, for me as well, but for Yao especially, manners are so bloody important. Why are you laughing?
No, I'm just thinking. Yeah.
Good manners.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm so much nicer since we've been together as well. Because it's just contagious. What's the word? Yeah. Yao is the nicest person I've ever met. I promise you, the kindest person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And okay. I told you this before.
I'll remind you this next time we're arguing.
Okay. Please do. But now we have a podcast, so I can just play back.
Cool.
Yeah, so I think, I'm not saying I wasn't a nice person before. I think I was, I hope. But you made me understand the importance of having good manners, as in to just be nice to others and how that impacts everything. So yeah, let's start with why is it so important for you?
I think, to be honest, you'll probably find that, especially from someone from a Ghanaian culture, black culture. I don't mean just someone from an African culture and things, because it's obviously worldwide, it's global. It crosses many boundaries and many races and things. This might sound a little bit soppy, but I've always felt that I really wouldn't like to impact someone else's being, energy or anything in a negative way if I didn't have to. Okay, from my parents and their parents and so forth, there's obviously been a bit of a legacy that we have, say, maybe respect for our elders. So in most cases, if we, I could meet a mate's mum for the first time or someone random, and I'd refer them as auntie and uncle. It's just a norm. It's a term of endearment, but it's a term of respect and things. It goes towards that kind of community village type feel of everybody's kind of there to look after your children, their children. We're all one type thing.
Can I just jump in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're so nice today, Angel. You're not taking a mickey out of me. What happened? When you mentioned auntie and uncle, I want to mention here that this is how we raise our kids as well. And this is something I'm not used to. I am now, but I wasn't used to it. In our culture, for instance, my auntie, I wouldn't call her Auntie Danka. She's just Danka, yeah? But for you...
And that would be weird for me. I do get it that maybe it's... Some people think it's an old way of thinking, and some people think it's an old way of kind of acting, but I think sometimes it's good to have that kind of disconnect, because in referring to someone as auntie and uncle, it brings them into kind of the family fold, saying that, we respect that you're still one with us, we're still family as such. But then at the same time, it's also kind of giving the, for want of a better word, again, the endearment that I understand that I'm not on your level, even if I'm at the age of 40 or 50, I appreciate that you would have had experience in life, more experience in life than I've had. So I'm not your mate as such and stuff from that. So I will give you a level of respect on that. And I get it. I do understand that sometimes people need to earn respect. And this is the whole thing about manners. If you're referring to someone and stuff like that, but somebody was off with you or is just naturally not a very nice person, there'll be probably a lot of things being said and stuff that isn't auntie and uncle in those situations and things. But yeah, I've always found that a nice way of just treating people with respect. It's another form of love, isn't it? Respect is another form of love to people. Yeah.
I didn't understand how important it was to you until, I don't know. It took me a while to understand basically how important that is for you to address older people as uncle and auntie. You always correct the boys if they just
Absolutely.
And it's so cute to see how upset you can get if they, even if they call my sister by name, you don't like that.
It's just this idea around I feel
respect.
that they need to have this kind of disconnect to kind of suddenly feel that someone that they're at school with
it's not the same as...
it's not the same. You know, you've got to appreciate what that person is, that person's life experience. You know, they know a bit more and stuff about life than you have, which is why you're using this endearing kind of...
But don't you think that respect needs to be earned in a different way? That it doesn't it doesn't create respect naturally just by, when you refer someone as uncle or auntie.
It gives a disconnect. This is what I'm trying to say. From the boys' point of view, if they're automatically looking at someone and there's the disconnect thinking, oh, that I can just call you by your first name because I'm so familiar with you, I don't think that's really the case. That disconnect, calling them auntie and uncle and stuff, always means that there's a level of, there's a slight kind of disconnect from you being my mate or you being my best buddy and things. It's their friend's mum and dad. So you should respect the fact that it's their mum and dad. I think we've always been about that. I have nephews who are 40.
And if they refer,
30,
if they address you as Yao,
they would know. There's no two ways. There's no two ways about it. And I'm not trying to be, because I'm the youngest in my immediate, between me and my immediate siblings and things. And there's a big age difference and things. But I'm still their uncle. And although, our age gap might be a lot closer than, say, my brothers and my sisters, which is a lot more distant, there's still that. They still understand that. And not being rude, they say it as a term of endearment and things, and they call me Uncle Yao rather than Yao. If I've had it in the past, right, that someone's referred to me as Yao,
and you were so upset. I couldn't believe it.
Because
not upset, like angry. You were angry.
But it's that familiarity and stuff behind it, because especially from our culture, we have an understanding. So just because someone has this kind of feeling that because they've gone past a certain age, that's the case and things, it's not. And we all, especially like I say, from our culture, we all understand this. And, sometimes people, it's like when kids kind of push the boundaries and stuff, right? To say, can you imagine if one of our kids turned around and didn't call me dad and called me Yao? Yeah, that would go down well.
But that's different, no?
No, is it though? I get there's a slight step to that, but because again in our culture it's there's a lot of kind of similarities and stuff with that.
But what if your uncle is younger than?
I've got a nephew who's older than me, and even in that situation there's a bit of a kind of slight joke and stuff to that, but he still refers to me as Uncle Yao. But again, and that's a lovely thing because it's such an endearing thing to know that one of my nephews is older than me, but he'll refer to me, and you know what? We've got a closeness and a connection and stuff because of that. Don't get me wrong. I respect him. I respect them and things as much as they respect me to a certain extent. But yeah, it's I think in that case it's more so of a culture thing. But yeah,
I like Uncle Yao. I want to call you Uncle Yao now. So cute.
Okay.
Uncle Yao. He's like baby Yao.
Yeah.
So that's the names. But in terms of manners as such, what really gets to me more since I've known you, because our culture, it's a bit different in terms of, now we live in the UK and people are really, really nice to each other.
Yeah.
Most of them anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas back home, it's not like people are not nice. They're very, very nice. But we have walls. We build walls. And, it's not common that you come to the supermarket and the lady at the cashier starts chatting to you and being nice, all smiles. They're not rude, but it's just, there's a distance between people, yeah? And that's so different here, and I like it. Although it's changing back home as well, I have to say, but generally speaking, yeah? And I like that when people are, it's just when someone gives you a little smile in the morning, it can make such a big difference, to how you feel. And
Absolutely.
it can even save your life.
Absolutely.
I heard stories when people were on the verge of committing suicide, but that's an extreme case, of course. But then someone said something nice to them, and that changed the...
I've always been about that positive energy. Don't get me wrong, we all have ups and downs, and sometimes, anybody can catch somebody at a bad time. Yeah, absolutely. You can't always be happy, but there is certain times and stuff when you feel that, like you said, that smile, that, hi, how's it going? Just being nice, that energy and stuff, it perks everybody up to a certain extent. Again, you can't be like that all the time, but generally, and
at least don't be an asshole.
Yeah, and maybe even on a selfish front and things, you yourself, right? If you're a little bit more positive, that kind of feeds back.
Yeah.
It resonates and stuff with people as well.
Yeah.
Right?
What really gets to us, I think, us as a couple,
Yeah.
is when people are really rude for no reason. No, you can go absolutely mental when you see. I can't remember any example, like for instance in a shop or someone is just off.
There's not many things that hit my short fuse, and this is what I mean. You can't always be positive and things, but my short fuse with people who treat either myself, my family, or friends, or even people that I see people being an arsehole. Yeah, an arsehole to. I can't let that go. That would bug me. That would absolutely, I'd be there for like a couple of days just thinking I need to turn around and say something or do something. That just, on my watch, no.
It's like, I think it was back in Welling Garden City, when you blocked one lady accidentally during the school run and she just went off with you. And then you remember, like, my husband is coming back and he can't. She just went off. How was it?
Yeah. It was drop off, wasn't it? I dropped the kids off and it was literally going to be 2 minutes because I was basically rushing to shock horror. I was a little bit late. And I was going in to just drop the kids off, and then I came back and this one lady just went off, and she was going crazy. Oh, my husband's kind of coming back. You could have, that means that you wouldn't have had somewhere to kind of, her husband hadn't come back yet. And
chill out.
And in that situation and stuff there, I was kind of like, what are you doing? Right, I get it. I don't know anything about her life. I don't know anything about what she was kind of going through. Maybe she was like genuinely scared on the repercussions of something like that and stuff happening. I don't know. But she went absolutely crazy, and I was just like, no. And I had to turn around and say, there's no two ways about it. And did I say anything then, or was it that I waited until the next time I saw her? It was the next time I saw her, wasn't it? We were all queuing up, and there was like mums and dads and stuff in this queue. And you don't want to be that person who just, belittles someone and things. So I just kindly just turned around and I said, look, I appreciate that you had that situation and things, but there was absolutely no way that you felt that you should feel that you could turn around and talk to me. I know people that would go mental and go absolutely crazy and just go, but it was enough for me to kind of get off my chest. And the funny thing was
that she was nice after.
Yeah, it could have been a really, really bad day or a bad week or something and it just kind of came out. But from that kind of point on, the first kind of interaction from that, it's kind of that off thing. And I even turned around and I said, I hope I didn't say it too loudly in front of people and things. But, she was actually really nice and she was really friendly and she was like...
She apologised.
Yeah. And she said, look, I'm really sorry if I kind of went too far and things. And every time we saw each other, hi, how's it going? And I like that energy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we can all have that energy all the time, but...
We all have bad days, and we often take it out on...
the wrong person.
Yeah. So maybe it's worth just stop and breathe, take a breather, and it's just like, okay. It's like now here, when we moved to Scotland, and I had this incident with this lady.
And it was fairly early on.
It was a few days.
Yeah.
A few days here. And
you should watch where we park and stuff, right? When we're doing the school run.
Oh, my school run. No?
Yeah.
But it was only these two instances, I think.
Yeah.
So I was so tired that morning because baby was 4 months.
Yeah.
I didn't have a good. I was still going through baby blues, I think. No, on that time. And I took the boys to school. The baby wasn't there. He was at home with you.
Yeah.
I left. I was half asleep, and was it also in England, these white marks on the road that indicate you can't park there? Did we have it in England as well? Never seen it before.
I think they've marked there so they can't. They're saying that you can't park in front of their.
Was it in England
drive.
as well?
Probably some people.
I didn't see it, so I wasn't used to it, and I didn't realize it was not allowed to park there. So I parked there. It wasn't directly in front of the house, so
she had a way of getting out, basically.
Yeah, if she really wanted. Yeah. So I parked there, and I dropped the kids off, came back to the car, and the door was wide open. I was like, what the hell? Oh my God, I forgot to close the door.
Yeah.
That was just, I'm just not with it. Mm-hmm. And this lady, she was standing in front of the car on the phone. And I was like, am I in trouble? Did I assist? And I started to be suspicious that I probably parked in the wrong spot. So I got in the car, closed the door, and she was killing me with her look. She was absolutely like, oh my God, I was so not scared, but like when someone gives you this look, like they want to kill you. And then she knocked on the window, so I pulled the window down and I started talking to her, friendly. And I said, I'm so sorry. Did I park in your drive? Am I blocking you? And she went absolutely off, absolutely crazy. I need to take my daughter to the class or something. And she was absolutely crazy. she shouted at me.
Yeah, you remember.
And I said, there is no need to be rude. I didn't realize that I'm blocking you. I'm so sorry, I didn't realize. And she said, what do you mean you don't realize? And you leave your door open here and you just like...
And I'm sorry, but if that's the case, you would kind of be thinking, okay, maybe just ease off a bit. The fact that you left the door open.
Yeah, she clearly thought I did it on purpose, that I'm so full of myself, I just leave the door open, park in people's driveways and stuff, you know. So, and she didn't believe me that I was being genuine and honest. And she said, what do you mean you didn't realize? Of course you realized. And I said, there's no need to be rude. I'm saying I'm sorry. And she went off. She didn't want to listen to anything. And then she said, how dare you calling me rude? Shame on you. I was like, and I just started reversing, didn't say nothing. Then her husband came out, I saw in the distance, like probably checking what was going on. So I reversed, and I was in tears, no? And I got back in tears. I was in such a bad place at the time, you know, and had it happened when I was suffering from postnatal depression after the boys.
Yeah.
And, you know, if I was alone at home at the time, say, something like that happens, and this can push you over the edge. Like, you know, like when you are in a very bad place and someone does this to you, it's a split second and you do something stupid then, you know. So that's why being nice, it's so important. It goes a long way. And I think people often don't realize how powerful that is. To be nice or to not be nice.
Yeah.
You know? For you, it's just, oh, I have a bad day, but it can impact someone so bad.
Yeah. Like I said, and I think we're both saying things, that we get that we can't be happy all the time.
No, but at least
a little
be
bit
neutral.
if
you really, because you sometimes, you're not in the mood to chat with people and to be nice.
Yeah.
I see that. But at least then you are...
I'm just quiet.
Yeah, you're quiet.
I'm quieter than I normally am.
Yeah.
So I'll give a nod or something, and you know, maybe acknowledge, but I'm not really in that conversation of going really deep and things.
But I can't imagine if you had a bad day or you're really triggered, if someone pissed you off, someone completely like a stranger, I don't know, if someone parked in our driveway, can't imagine you would go crazy. No way. You wouldn't take it out on them.
No,
if you had a bad day.
I don't think so.
No.
You never say never, but I doubt that things like that aren't triggers and stuff to me, are they? I think triggers for me is people treating people in a bad way, and anybody can tell you I'm quite a happy-go-lucky. You know, I'm a hugger, and you know, I like making friends. You know, socializing and just meeting new people and things, but that's my trigger. Treat someone unwell, then it's just not the same person. I'm not a nice person to that.
When we drive as well, no, when someone does something, you can be so triggered by that, no? Like when someone does something stupid, and then they
think they were right.
And they show you.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I think that's, you know, I'm sure everybody kind of, when they're driving, thinks they're in the right. But if I do something wrong, and then I'm like the first one to go, oh, mate, sorry, really sorry, or something.
But sometimes you realise you do something bad.
Yeah, and then I'm like, oh.
But then you at least...
Yeah, look, didn't mean to, I'm really sorry, tried to make it clear that I'm the one in the wrong and things. But yeah, I just think, treat people with respect, right? Every day is hard for everybody, right? You know, you can have a hard day, you can be tired and things. Why do you need to add to it? Why not just be a bit of a positive and stuff to that, and just... And
manners as such, no? Like saying please and thank you.
What's the hardship in that?
I met this guy once who... he didn't say please or thank you, and then when I pointed it out, like, can you at least say please when you want something? He would ask something for me to hold. He would just say hold it, you know. And I was like, I don't like it. You just say please, no.
Yeah.
But then he was like, oh, you like a royal kind of high maintenance, difficult person because I want please and thank you, you know. And people are like that, like, what the
Yeah.
hell?
I would go
Little
out
kids.
I would go probably out of my way. I don't get me wrong, exactly, and I can probably say this. I'd be petty in that instance there to kind of
Hold it.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it wouldn't end there.
If I was like that,
What?
the beginning
Yeah.
of our relationship, what would you have done? Would we still be here?
I love you.
Let's just say that.
I just don't have time for people who are disrespectful and stuff to other people. There's no need for it.
That's a good point. That's respect. When you say please and thank you, that means you respect.
Just appreciate what
They do, what they want them to do, and what they do. No?
Yeah, I think sometimes people just get ahead of themselves and get a little bit hyped up with who they are or their situation or whatever, and as a result, they feel that they're past that. And you probably find the people who are really up there, they get it. They get around the please and thank yous because they know, even if it's even from a selfish point of view, that they get something more from it. But
still, but kids in the nursery, they learn to say please and thank you. So
where
I
does
don't
it
get
go?
it why some people just can't be bothered. It's very important that we raise our kids with manners.
I can't,
having good manners.
Yeah, I can't have, we can't have our kids not respecting others.
There's no way.
Respecting people, and our kids are at that age and stuff now where occasionally, we're always correcting them about please and thank yous and bits and bobs and stuff, but they've got endearing hearts. You can just tell. And obviously, we're mum and dad, and so we're biased to a certain extent, but they've got lovely souls and things, right? And they are caring. If something was to happen, they'd be genuinely upset, not just kind of upset because mummy and daddy are going to be we absolutely want them to respect people, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be
angels.
Not angels, just they're not what do you call it, the thingy mats. They're not pushovers. They're not.
No.
I don't think it's in their nature. They've got too much of both of our stubbornness in them. Good luck to the world with the Poku boys. Christ.
Everyone would be dominated by Baby Owl anyway.
Oh.
A little boss of the family,
though.
You know what else gets to me? When, say, we are, coffee shop or restaurant, and then you're nice to a waiter, and then they're like sour face, and they're like,
Yeah, but I even in that instance and stuff,
that gets to you sometimes as well.
It does if they're off. We can't always dictate how people are going to be in things. He might have had a bad day, a bad evening, bad week, a bad month, and he's still doing something he may not particularly like to do. But even in that, I'm always like, if you didn't really want to do it, although you need the money and things, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. If that's always going to be the way that you come into it, and you're always going to change something, right? Because that person might need it. But if that person's rude, no. You could turn around and be kind of flippant with, what do you want? You're asking, what do you want?
Yeah.
Sorry. Or, something just off with the way that you're acting, behaving. Okay, initially you might be but then I'm expecting something else to take over, and just, even if you realise you've had a bad couple of people that you've waited on, or whatever that is, when you kind of come across people who are genuinely a lot nicer, if that doesn't kind of change, then it's not great. But if someone's just like,
or like the lady in the driveway.
You never know. You could meet her on another occasion. You recognise her, she probably wouldn't even recognise you.
Yeah.
And that lady could be a completely different person. And,
Oh, absolutely. I think, all in all, we understand when someone is off. There's always something underlying. But it doesn't mean it's acceptable, I'd say.
Exactly.
That's the point we're trying to make. We all make mistakes, but then at least apologize if there is an opportunity for that. Like you said with the lady, because we all can make mistakes, but then at least admit, okay, I'm sorry, didn't mean to, or it wasn't nice what I did.
A lot, and again, that people find it really difficult sometimes to say sorry, or I was the one. And that's always been a wonder and stuff for me. If I do something wrong, own it.
Yeah, but you're a content confident person, Angel. Not everyone is.
Yeah, I get that, and some people find it as a weakness, and it's not. It really isn't, because you can find individuals when you're out of things who are complete arseholes, but they know they are, and they're so happy about it. They're so, they feel that they can, who runs the world, they do. And everybody should bow towards this and things. And that's the weakness. That's what I really, people who really feel like that. But, those same people that are like this, if you saw them in a dark alleyway, it would be a completely different kind of dynamic and stuff, right? It's just, it's always been something that I find funny to a certain extent, how people behave when they feel they have some level of power. And they don't. Realistically. In real world, it came down to it, they don't.
They're just being honest.
Sorry,
it's another thing, it's our in-joke. We just can't stand when people are being jerks and they argue, I'm just being honest. That irritates me more, I think, than you. This is something I just can't stand. How honesty became distorted. Because being honest means that you are honest with yourself in the first place, I think. And for instance, if you do something wrong, you screw up, and you're honest with yourself, and you say, okay, I'll just say sorry.
That's what I'm
honest. Or you deliver, if it's being honest with someone else, you deliver the information in a way that doesn't hurt the other person, but actually empowers them. But what a lot of people do is, or say, they're just being absolute assholes. Like, I don't know, if I told you now you look like, you're going to the interview and you ask me, how do I look? And I say, you look awful, you look like absolutely like a piece of Even if I think that, if you say it, that's not honesty. That's not just, bloody honesty. Just can't. Just can't. It's just this is being rude. And when you say, I'm just being honest, you can't take the truth. That's just a killer. That's a nail in the... That's a play on their thing that's manipulation. Exactly. It's a manipulation. They're thinking that you should be able to accept that because I've just twisted that slightly, but so they make the other person feel bad. And they walk away feeling positive. Yes, and with the power, and the other person feels like shit. Plus, they feel like I can't take the truth. What's wrong with me? So that really gets to me. That's very close with manners as well. You don't have manners if you are this brutally honest, like they call each other. We are just being brutally honest. You can't take the truth. So so we always have this inner joke. When you say something, being honest. I'm just being honest. When you like what? When you say something that doesn't come across very well. Just being honest. What does honesty mean to you, Uncle Jan? I don't know. I don't think we've got long enough. There's a lot around honesty. Nobody. I don't care
however much people turn around and say, "Oh, I'm always honest," people aren't always honest.
No.
And sometimes
Can't be even.
yeah, sometimes you're not even honest with yourselves and stuff to a certain extent. But yeah, generally, I like to be as upfront. Okay, not being brutally honest, but just sometimes you can be constructive. Sometimes just
I don't think there is such thing as brutally honest. You're either honest or not. It's like confidence. You can't be too confident. You're confident or you're not. Too confident usually is a jerk.
Yeah.
And they say, I'm just confident.
And in that situation and stuff, they're overcompensating for something, right?
Yeah.
So it's like...
Also, what I find that, I don't know if it's just me, but I trust people who are honest. Part of me doesn't trust people who say they're honest, who talk about themselves. I'm being an honest person. I always tell the truth. Because if you really are honest, you don't have to point it out with words. I don't know if it's just me, but...
I'm sure just a minute ago I just said, I'm honest. So I go back to the drawing board, baby. I would go back and just check, just to... Uh-oh.
No, but now we're talking about it, so that's different.
Oh, okay.
But if...
And then all of a sudden it's like...
Angel, I didn't know how to tell you this. I had to get you on a podcast. That was my plan.
Yeah.
All along.
Damn it. Got you.
But if, for instance, I don't know, different situation, depends on the situation, but if someone points it out too often, and I know people like that, especially from the past, like, I'm very honest. I always say what I mean. If you can't take it, that's your problem. It's not my problem. So this kind of people, Okay, I think that's all we wanted to share today. We could talk about this for ages, I think. Clearly. Especially now.
If you've got any areas around this, then just
get in touch with us. If you have any requests on subjects you would like us to talk about, then go ahead and send us your suggestions. Bye.